Hello there, Tolkien fanatics, and welcome back to another MESBG video. Today's topic is going to be on profiles and how to read them and understand them. I spoke about profiles in my movement video the other day, and you can find the movement characteristic in the profile. So today I'm actually going to go ahead and break down section by section in the profile and how to understand it. What each column represents, what all the little letters and numbers mean, and all of that good jazz. I'm also going to go ahead and cover other characteristics of a profile, such as war gear, heroic actions if we're talking about a hero, special rules, war gear option, and anything else that comes up. So today I'm going to be using my favorite profile, which is Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth. For those who don't know me, Dol Amroth, or the fiefdom, specifically Dol Amroth, is what got me back into MESBG in 2014. I ended up leaving the theaters of the Battle of Five Armies and thinking, wow, I really remember this game. It was really cool. Is it still around? And I went back to my barracks room. I was in the military at the time. Went back to my barracks room on base, grabbed my laptop, pulled it up, had to refresh it because the internet on the base was terrible until I finally got internet connection and Googled Games Workshop. And lo and behold, lucky for me, it was still a thing. At that time, it was in I guess you could call it the second generation. I know it's not the second iteration, but like the second generation of Middle-earth strategy battle gaming. At that time, it was called the Hobbit strategy battle game. So the original release was the Lord of the Rings, and then it became the Hobbit strategy battle game when the Hobbit movies were released. Okay, so just a little bit of background there. Sorry, not really on topic, but I kind of like to throw in little bits of trivia and other history of the game when I'm doing these videos. So if you don't like that, please let me know. Just leave a comment saying, hey, dude, stay on topic. If you do enjoy that, please leave a comment below letting me know that you enjoy that, because I'll definitely try and include little bits of trivia throughout each one of these videos I do. I think it kind of makes the video fun, but again, that's just my opinion. So I will be using, like I said, Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth. He is in the Armies of the Lord of the Rings that was released in 2018 with the current iteration of the game, the third generation, so to speak, which made this Middle-earth strategy battle game. So for those of you who have your book, go ahead and grab it out. I will not be sharing any images in this video for current profiles, just because I don't want to infringe on any copyrights for the algorithm for YouTube, and also because of the fact that I don't believe in sharing publicly this information. I do support the game, I do support the hobby, and to do that you have to go and buy the materials. Now, I'm not against saying, hey, you're a local buddy and you are playing and you want to go ahead and go halvesies on buying the book so you can share it and learn to play. That's completely fine, because if you're going halvesies, you're still spending money on the game. I am not a big fan of just giving it away. I have done some stuff where I've helped out new players. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, I'm not a stone cold black and white. Oh yeah, you can't have this. I mean, I've given plenty of models and stuff away, loaned out books, gave a few books away to help players out. But I'm not going to share any profiles directly. So any profile you're seeing on the screen throughout this video is either an old profile, an experimental profile from new releases over the last couple of years, or one that is just never even been released. So, for example, up until we got War in the Ring, Helm Hammerhand was only in the War in Rohan book. Actually, I don't even think he was in that, to be honest. I think he was in something else. So any profile like that was a never released profile. So back on topic. All right, that's 4 minutes of jabbering for no reason. Let's get to the actual topic of the video. So the profile. Starting on page 47 in the Armies of the Lord of the Rings book, we have Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth. So looking at the profile, we have come to the first part, which is movement. That's what MV is. MV is movement. We discussed this in the movement video I did prior. Go check that out if you're confused. So it says he had moved 6 inches. So that is when he is in his infantry mode. So if he's on foot, he will be moving 6 inches. Moving along, the next thing we have is F. That stands for fight value. So this tells the level of competence he has in combat. So he's a fight value of 6. So if he's going against another model, let's take Faramir, for example. If you guys want to flip to the page for Faramir, he's actually back a few on page, I don't know this off the top of my head, so I'm flipping, 37. Faramir is fight 5. So if Imrahil and Faramir were to fight, they would roll their dice, say it's tied. They both roll a 6. Okay. Imrahil wins because of the fact that he has a fight value of 6. Therefore, he is the better combat. He's better in fighting. So that's what that is there for. And all models have a fight value. The meta, so to speak, is fight value 4. That means there's a lot of armies out there that have infantry, warriors, or just not infantry, but just warriors that are fight value 4. Now there are other armies out there that are lower. Hobbits have some fight 1 and fight 2. They can get up to fight 3, I believe, with sheriffs. But for the most part, most profiles are fight 3. And then it goes up and down from there, depending on how good of quality. So moving along, we also have a / and it says 4+. So that is your shoot value characteristic. Okay, so fight value has 2 different characteristics. You've got the actual combat, and then you have the shoot value, which all falls under fight value, the F. So that just means that in a shooting attack, now Imrahil doesn't have one, but there are some campaign and narrative scenarios where you can pick up ranged weapons known as missile weapons, as they're called in the books. And this would be the characteristic that you would shoot on. So in a shoot phase, we haven't gotten there yet, but you roll your dice. If the number that is rolled is equal to or greater than your shoot value, then you have hit whatever you're shooting at. So it goes a little more in depth from there, but we'll just stick with that. So next up, strength, S. He has a strength value of 4. That's pretty common. Most men heroes are strength 4. There are some that are better. If you look straight down the page, you got Forlong, who's strength 5. But for the most part, heroes are usually strength 4. Men heroes are strength 4. Okay, pretty straightforward. We'll get to what that's good for in a second, because I want to cover defense. So the next one, D's defense. He's defense of 7. So that is your base defense value. Some warriors have like defense 5. For the most part, a lot of like heavy armor warriors are defense 5. If you give them a shield, or if they have armor and they upgrade it to heavy armor, so Faramir, for example, his defense characteristic back on page 37 was 5. So if you look at his war gear options, it says armor. Well, then you look at his, if you look at his war gear, it says armor. If you look at his war gear options, it says heavy armor. So he pays some points for heavy armor, and that increases his base characteristic from 5 to 6. Now, there's a whole breakdown for that in the book. That will come in a future video. I promise you that much, okay? So Imrahil, for example, is defense of 7, all right? So strength, defense, that's how you figure out if you win something. There is a chart. I don't think it's actually in the back of the Army book, which to me seems maybe weird. I'm trying to look while I'm talking, so if I sound weird, that's why. I'm not seeing it, but there's something called the wound chart, and that is in the main Army book. Maybe I'll try and find it and drop a picture below while I'm talking about it here. If you see it, obviously I found it. If not, oh well, sorry. But you would take your strength of 7, and it's just a simple gliding chart, right? Your strength's on one side, your defense is on the top of another. So you take your strength and you go across until you hit the defense, and that is what you need to wound. You roll to wound something. So if Imrahil has a strength of 4 and he's going against something that's a defense of 6, find your strength of 4, come across until you hit your defense of 6, and it tells you what you need to roll. And I can tell you off the top of my head, I know it's 5s. Okay, so if he's in combat against something that's defense 6, then he would be rolling 5s to wound that model. So if he rolls, he's got the next characteristic, which is attacks, 3. He rolls 3 attacks, and he gets a 4, and a 5. Congratulations, he has caused a single wound. If he's fighting against something that is a single wound model, like most warriors are single wound models, he has killed that model. Okay? So attacks is just the base number of attacks you have in a fight. That is the amount of dice you would base roll. So I say base because there are factors that can allow you to roll more. We're just talking about the profile right now. So his base attack value is 3. His base wound value is 3 as well. That means he can take 3 wounds before he dies. All right? So that's what W stands for. W is wounds. C is courage. There are situations in the game where you have to take courage checks. All right? Courage is simple. I'll cover it right here real quick. You take 2d6s, you roll them, you add them to your courage value. If the number is equal to or greater than 10, congratulations, you have passed the courage test. Yay! All right. So situations where you could use that is if you're charging a Terra model or you're broken. There are other situations, but that is just the base two I'm going to hit real quick talking about it. All right, so we're going to move along. And we have 3 left, and this is specifically for heroes, all right? And that is Might, Will, and Fate. That's what the next M, W, and F stand for. So Imrahil has 3 Might, 3 Will, and 3 Fate. So when you hear someone talking about 3s in all the right places, that's what they're usually talking about. They're talking about Might, Will, Fate, and then also attacks and wounds. So Imrahil, if you're just looking at his points value right up there in the right corner of his profile, you can see he's pretty pricey. Especially if you start looking at Forlong and flipping along and looking at the other heroes, you can see he's very expensive. He's more than twice the points of 3 of the 5 heroes in the fiefdoms, which is to be expected because he's got 3s in all the right places, okay? You're paying for those points of Might, Will, Fate. You're paying for those attacks. You're paying for those wounds in a profile. Those are paid for. Usually there's nothing official, but I'm trying to figure out what to call it. Common thought process is that a point of Might is usually 10, a point of Will is 5, a point of Fate is also 5, and then attacks and wounds are usually 5 to 10 points as well. So that's where you can kind of see the balance coming in. So you could just compare him to Forlong and see, he's got 2 Will and 2 Fate left. He's got 1 attack less. So, I mean, there's, 5 characteristics he's lacking compared to Imrahil. Then you can go farther. His fight value is 1 less. His defense is 1 less. His strength is 1 more, which is cool. His courage value is 2 less. So that kind of all balances out for why Forlong is much cheaper than Imrahil. Other things that affect that is special rules as well. Okay, so that is your profile. You have your movement characteristic, your fight value, which also has your shoot value, your strength, your defense, your attacks, your wounds, and your courage. And then Might, Will, and Fate for heroes. Pretty sure there's no warrior models. If you just flip a few pages, you can look at a warrior of a knight of Delgamar, and they have no Might, Will, and Fate columns. The old rules, there was one model that actually had this, and he was 000, and that was a Rohan Outrider because of the fact that you could give them a Might point. I can't remember how you could do it, but you used to be able to give it to them. I'm almost 100% certain that there's no warrior models in today's current iteration that have Might, Will, or Fate characteristics. So that is the profile. So the other things that are included in a profile are war gear. So for Imrahil, he comes with heavy armor, sword, and a shield. His heroic actions, and they're listed there. We'll talk about heroic actions in the future. Then he's got 2 special rules. He has 2 war gear options. He can take armored horse and a lance. And then if you look at the very top, this is the most important part. He has keywords. So the profile includes keywords in this edition. And keywords are important because of the fact that they allow certain actions and certain special rules to take effect. So looking at Imrahil, he has 4 of them. Man, Gondor, Infantry, Hero. Okay? So he is a man. Straight up, it's easy. If he was Legolas, he'd be an elf. If he was Gothmog, he'd be an orc. All right? Gondor. That is the faction he belongs to. Even though he's in the fiefdoms faction, he has the Gondor keyword. And that's important because of some of the stuff that is in the Minas Tirith army. Minas Tirith doesn't say Minas Tirith for their keyword. It says Gondor. But the fiefdoms and Minas Tirith are all part of Gondor. All right? Next up is infantry. So again, I was saying his movement is 6. So when he's an infantry model, his movement is 6. Now, if he takes the armored horse, he changes that keyword to cavalry. All right? And this is something I'll cover when I do cavalry in the future. But he will change that keyword to cavalry, and in such, he would actually gain the 10-inch movement coming from the cav model he's taking, which is the armored horse. All right? So the last keyword is hero, and that's important because there are 2 keywords. You either have heroes or you have warriors. I'm pretty sure that's it for that last one. There are some things out there. There are special rules that only give warriors the bonus. There are some, they only give heroes the bonus. They can do either one. So one example off the top of my head, we'll talk Corsairs for a second. Delgamar, if you're not familiar with that model, he is in the Gondor at War book. He can whip Corsair warrior models to attempt to win a fight. Basically, it's a banner roll. He allows them to have a banner. But the key to that is Corsair warrior. So any Corsair heroes, they have to have both of those matching keywords. All right. The Corsair heroes cannot benefit from it. So in order to use that whip effect to get a banner reroll, they have to have Corsair and warrior. So therefore, there's no, whipping a Corsair bosun, because a Corsair bosun has Corsair keyword, but is the hero keyword as well. He lacks the warrior keyword, so he can't do it. All right, and then the last thing we'll look at real quick is just Hero of Legend, and that is his heroic tier. That is something that was new in this edition that was released and updated in 2018. So every hero has a heroic tier, and we'll talk about those in another video as well. All right, guys, so that's everything. The profiles that are currently out there can be found in the armies of the Lord of the Rings, the armies of the Hobbit. There are profiles in the War in Rohan, Gondor at War, Scoring of the Shower. Wow. Scoring of the Shire. I just took a shower, hence why I'm thinking shower on the head. But yeah, Scoring of the Shire and the Quest of the Ring Bearer. Those are the current Games Workshop main army books and supplement books that include profiles for the game. So if you're looking for current profiles, those are what you can use. There are other things out there that have profiles in them. Like I said, the pictures I'm showing will have, some profiles that are posted, but those are no longer acceptable profiles. They're not really OOP, they're just out of use. I don't know what that is. OOU. They're non-canon. So if anybody's out there, like Star Wars, it used to be Legends, now it's the new Disney stuff. To put it politely, stuff is considered canon. But those old Lord of the Rings books, and I have a whole shelf full, I'm looking at them right now, are no longer canon. They're no longer usable. The profile's in there. If you want to do a fun game with you and your buddies, absolutely nothing wrong using them. But if you want to use them for like match play in a tournament, they're not going to be accepted. Most tournament organizers will tell you specifically you have to use these books, and that is something I include in my own tournaments that I organize. Okay. One last thing I want to talk about real quick, and you've probably already seen it on your screen, is there's these really cool things called profile cards that Games Workshop came out with. Unfortunately, they did them for limited runs, which is really annoying. They have come out again, and hopefully they'll just keep coming out every 2 years or so and re-releasing them, because they are really useful. And that's profile cards. Basically, they take each faction and make a little, it looks like index cards, and it's a quick way to just look up your model's profile. And it doesn't include a detailed description of all the special rules, but it'll tell you the war gear options. I can't remember. I don't think it includes base cost it doesn't, because the war gear options don't tell you how much they're worth, I don't believe. But it's an easier way to carry around, instead of having to carry around multiple books if you're doing an army. Like, for example, I did Corsairs. So Delgamar is in the Gondor at War book, and then the Corsairs are in the Armies of the Lord of the Rings book. So I'd have to carry around 2 books. Well, I could just carry around these small cards. They're slip in a back pocket, take out the ones you need, take them with you. You don't even have to bring the whole box. So they're a very nice tool to use, and you can find the profiles, albeit slimmed down, there. So if you see them and you're really getting into the game and really like the idea, I tried the cards. To me, they're cool. Don't get me wrong. I do like them. I only use them situationally, though. I don't usually take them for casual play. I'll usually just bring the book. Now, events, that's a different story. Sometimes I'll bring them with me. So, yeah, that's everything, guys. A little longer than I was expecting for profiles, but I talked about a lot of stuff. Like I said, I like to get off track, add little bits of fun fact and stuff of that nature. So stay tuned for the next MESBG video. I will be bringing that to you soon. And as always, guys, please like, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching.